This ain't no jokers. Oh my goodness, guys. We have a lot of big news to talk about here today and for me to give my 2 cents on, okay? First off here, a good day in the market overall. Nasdaq's up over 2%. Meanwhile, Uber is making a downward move here today, a red day for Uber. Some pretty bad news in regards to Uber stock we're going to talk about. My Tesla is having an amazing day. As of the start of the prep for this video, this stock is up 12.5%, up $171 a share. We got to talk about some big things in regards to these companies, okay? Uber CEO says it may have to shut down. We're going to talk about that massive news story, okay? Tesla announces 5-to-1 stock split. Have to talk about that huge thing. And lastly, we'll talk about something in regards to Planet 13 that I'm seeing out there involving trading activity at the beginning and the end of trading days. And I've noticed this consistently, and I just want to point this out to you guys. So hopefully it saves you a little bit of money, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. That helps out the channel in a massive, massive way. And speaking about massive, massive things, it is a massive day in the public count today. I mean, the count is up over 37K right now. Just a public account here today. I mean, that account has had an amazing, absolutely amazing past year, but my goodness, what a massive day. One of the biggest days ever in that account, okay? So let's start out here talking about the Uber situation. Uber CEO talking about they might have to shut down. You guys know I used to be an Uber shareholder, made good money on the stock, right? This is a public account, for instance. This was one of 2 accounts I held Uber shares in, and we ended up profiting over $7,000 in that stock. I mean, we did very, very, very well, needless to say, in Uber overall. And it's not doing so well recently, okay? Uber would likely shut down temporarily for several months if a court does not overturn a recent ruling requiring it to classify its drivers as full-time employees. CEO Dara Khosrowshahi said in an interview to MSNBC, he says, if the court doesn't reconsider, then in California, it's hard to believe we'll be able to switch our model to full-time employment quickly, says the CEO, okay? Keep in mind, California is the biggest market for Uber, okay? This is the biggest market, California, okay? So, I mean, if they have to shut down for several months in California, that basically means they shut down their biggest market for several months, okay? That is massive, okay? That is massive for the company overall, okay? And when I say massive, I mean massive in a very bad way, okay? Uber and rival Lyft both have about a week left to appeal a preliminary injunction granted by a California judge on Monday that will prohibit the companies from continuing to classify their drivers as independent workers. Following the order will require Uber and Lyft to provide benefits and unemployment insurance for workers. California's Attorney General and 3 city attorneys brought the lawsuit against the companies under the state's new law, Assembly Bill 5, that aims to provide benefits to gig workers core to a company's business by classifying them as employees. In his decision granting the preliminary injunction, the judge rejected the notion that drivers should be considered outside the course of the company's businesses, calling the logic, quote, a classic example of circular reasoning. Uber and Lyft both said they would appeal the ruling during the 10-day period before it goes into effect. Okay, the CEO said on Wednesday that his plan B, if Uber can't win on appeal, would be to temporarily pause service in California. And remember, they're talking about potentially months, okay, not just like a day or something like that, okay? While he said Uber would later resume service in the state, it would likely be on more centered cities, which would mean limited availability in less concentrated areas such as suburbs or rural areas, something like that, okay? If the appeal doesn't work out for Uber, it will be banking on voters to determine its fate. The CEO said that if that's the case, the service would likely shut down in California until November, okay? We're only in August right now, when voters in the state decide on Proposition 22, which would exempt drivers for app-based transportation and delivery companies from being considered employees. Uber has argued its drivers prefer working as independent contractors, though California AG rejected that claim, saying that's a bogus argument, okay? So obviously, this is just a really, 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 really negative thing for Uber, because you think about this. If this goes through in California, who's to say it's not going to happen in other major markets, not just in the United States of America, but around the world as well, which would be just, detrimental to Uber's business model in a massive, massive way, okay? Think about it like this, okay? If you're going to make the drivers full-time, you're taking away two big things. Yes, you're giving those benefits out there, but you're taking away their freedom, okay? Because ultimately, when you're talking about a full-time employee, then Uber is going to want these people to work specific schedules. Right now you can go on the Uber app and shoot, if I want to go drive right now, I could, right? I mean, I would have to sign up for Uber first to be an Uber driver, but if I wanted to and I signed up for it, I could go anytime in the middle of the night if I want to go drive, people around. I could do that, right? Well, if all of a sudden you become a bunch of full-time employees, you have to be there at very specific times. And so Uber is going to say, you're going to, drive at this time. And it's like, man, I don't want to drive at that time. Well, you can either do this or you're fired, okay? And so you kind of lose some freedom there. Well, you do lose your freedom there, okay? Let's be honest about that, okay? The other issue with this is it's going to make rides more expensive, just flat out, okay? Rides will get more expensive in California, and if this happens in other markets, it's going to get more expensive because those costs that Uber is going to incur, Uber's not covering that, okay? They're just going to raise prices, and so won't Lyft. And Uber and Lyft are your only two options. So prices will get more expensive. Uber and Lyft will raise prices, and who ends up paying for that? All the Uber riders will pay for that, because believe me, Uber's not paying for that, and neither is Lyft, okay? Lyft lost a ton of money last year, so look at Uber's income statement, okay? If you can call it an income statement. 2019, Uber had a net loss of $8.5 billion. Do you think Uber is going to front that cost? No, they're going to pass that right along to drivers, along with a whole lot more, because Uber and Lyft are going to be going up in price considerably over the next few years as it is to get these businesses to, profitability. Never mind when you add on these things, it's just going to get a whole lot more expensive if you want to take these ride-sharing apps, just flat out, okay? Trailing 12 month, the company's lost almost $7 billion in the last 12 months alone when it comes to Uber. And so next question I'll logically get is, am I interested in buying back into Uber? It's down to $30 a share, in the 30s, low 30s, let's call it that, okay? Will I buy back in? Am I interested in buying back in? Honestly, no, okay? I mean, if it goes under 25, I'll start considering the possibility of buying in Uber, but I'm honestly not that interested. I mean, this is a messy situation. It's a tough business model as it is. I have always kind of had a lot of faith in that company, but I have seen them cut back on a lot of different things recently, and it's going to be a mess. It's just flat out. Never mind if you're talking about robo-taxi networks starting to take off in a few years from now. That's going to be a whole other situation, and who knows if Uber's going to be ready to rock and roll for that. And so Uber, if it falls under 25, maybe I might start considering it, but as of right now, it's not even in consideration as a stock for me to buy personally. That's a messy, messy situation, okay? Let's talk about a situation that's not too messy, and that's Tesla. Oh my goodness. Stock's up over $200 a share now, up 15%, just while I prep those other Uber slides. Unbelievable move here today. I mean, a move like that makes me say, I got to get another Tesla. I got the Model 3, I got the Model X, and I'm thinking, man, maybe move that punching bag out of the way and maybe get a Cybertruck or maybe a Roadster. Which one you guys think I should get? Like a Roadster or a Cybertruck when they come out next year? Let me know, and maybe I'll fill up that third garage there, okay? And oh my gosh, I mean, this day is getting crazy in the public count. Now we're up over 40K in the public count here today. I mean, it is extraordinary, okay? But let's talk about this 5-to-1 stock split for Tesla, okay? So Tesla announced a 5-to-1 stock split Tuesday evening, right? The split goes into effect after the close of trading on August 31st, and today's August 12th. So we're talking, about 3 weeks from now or so into the future, okay? A lot of people are confused. How is this going to work? What's my opinion on this? All those sorts of things, okay? So some people are like, oh, I get 5x more shares. I'm going to be rich. Oh my gosh, I have, 50 shares, and now I'm going to have 250, and this is amazing. And I just see a lot of confusion out there. And people thinking, that's not as simple as that, okay? It's just not that simple, flat out. It's not as simple as you're going to get 5x more shares at $1,500 a share or something like that, okay? Here's an example. You own one Tesla share here today, let's say, for instance, okay? Well, essentially, after August 31st, you're going to own 5 Tesla shares. That's beautiful. That's awesome. But guess what? The stock price is also going to be divided by 5, okay? So net, it's the same exact thing. You're not like benefiting any, you're not being hurt at the same time just because the stock price is going to be divided by 5 because, like you said, you're getting 5x more shares. So net, it really doesn't mean a whole lot for you guys, okay? It really doesn't if you're a current shareholder. It means some other big things that we're going to speak about here, but in terms of if you think you're going to lose a bunch of money or make a bunch of money just because the stock is splitting, that's not how a stock split works, okay? And for that example, let's say with that one share, you know that's worth $1,500, let's say here today, I think Tesla stock's somewhere around 1,500, right? You go ahead, you divide out that by 5 shares, and your shares are going to be worth about $300 each, assuming that's what the stock price is, come August 31st or whatever, okay? Now, some people are saying, this is awesome, man. Tesla shares are going to be cheaper. Now they're only going to be $300 or whatever price, or $320 or whatever. This is going to be awesome, so, so much cheaper. This is phenomenal, but it's not really how it works either, okay? It's just important to look at the stock price. It's important to look at the market cap, okay? And this is for all those folks that are kind of newer to the stock market. Market cap, whether a company's expensive or cheap, it really comes down to market cap. I could have a stock worth $10,000 a share and somebody has a stock worth $1 a share, and really that company could be much more expensive. The one that's $1 a share could be actually much more expensive than the company that's $10,000 a share. You know why? Because market cap is what determines if a company is expensive or not expensive. That is what the valuation is on this company. And at the end of the day, the valuation is going to be basically the same from August 31st into September 1st, okay? Nothing changes with the valuation. Just there's going to be a lot more shares out there, and the share price is obviously going to be decreased, okay? So it's not really like it gets cheaper necessarily, okay? But I will tell you what I absolutely love about this move, okay? This is, coming from somebody like myself, who's obviously somebody that not just teaches, advanced investors different strategies and things like that, and how I look into stocks and what stocks I'm buying, but I honestly, half the channel I would say is made up of people that are in their first year of investing, okay? And so what I ultimately love about this is newer investors can buy in. This is phenomenal news, okay? Newer investors can buy into the stock that maybe couldn't have bought in the stock when it was $1,500 plus, okay? Because think about it, right? The stock's $1,500 something here today. At $300, all of a sudden that allows a lot of smaller investors to buy in. Let's say you only have $900 to invest and you really want to buy Tesla stock. Gosh, you can't buy Tesla stock, right? Unless you sign up for a brokerage that has fractional shares, but not all brokerages have fractional shares, right? So if you're stuck there with your situation where you're like, oh, I would like to buy some Tesla stock. I don't really even know what I'm doing in the stock market, but I really want to buy a stock, right? And you got your $900 in there, you can't buy. But now, if the shares are 300 something, you as a smaller investor can now invest. Also, maybe it's a situation where, let's say you have $2,000 to your name and you're like, dang, I don't want to invest almost all my $2,000 into one stock. I want to diversify it around a bit and buy a bunch of different stocks and kind of get experience in a bunch of different stocks, right? Great, but ultimately, if Tesla's $1,600 a share, you can't really do that, right? Because you're like, shoot, I got almost all my money in that. So I love the fact that smaller investors will be able to buy into a stock like Tesla, because ultimately, Tesla is one of those, very few stocks in the stock market that really attract a ton of new investors who have never invested before, but they see a company like Tesla on the come up and on the rise, and they start thinking, man, I want a piece of that too. I want to make some of that money too. I want to, when this company succeeds huge, I want to take part in that and be part of that ownership of the actual company. And so for that, I love it, okay? And for me, I always say starting is the key. That's the key. Why do a lot of people, basically not achieve any type of real, financial stability or freedom and things like that? They never really start with investing. They never get the ball rolling. And the key is to get the ball rolling when you don't have much money. That's the biggest thing, in my opinion. I started in the stock market, I probably had like less than $1,000. I think my first investment was like $300 or something like that. That's what it's all about, getting that ball rolling. I told my, people in my private stock group, I have a little motivational tab in the Discord, and I was telling them, last night, I said, a decade ago, I was worth $5,000. Like, just think about that. I mean, imagine how much can change in your life if you really, pay attention to money, you care about money in a matter of a decade. Decade ago, I was worth $5,000 total. Okay, total. That's crazy, right? Starting is the biggest key with all this. What I will say I don't like about this, what I think is lame, and this is my personal opinion, I think this is super lame, is the massive move up in the stock price today. Because let's be very clear, Who's buying today are pretty much not long-term investors. The people that are buying today are mostly traders, okay? Because if you were a long-term investor, you could have bought yesterday. Why not buy yesterday when it was $200 a share cheaper? Why not buy the day before or something like that, right? Or the day before that, or the day before that. The fact is, all of a sudden, this 5-to-1 split is announced, and now a bunch of, breadcrumb chaser money gets into the stock, a bunch of short-term, let's, hype it out, let's just buy in. And I think that is so lame in my personal opinion, because a lot of people are buying in the stock who are not really in for the long term, okay? They're not in the stock for the next 3, 5, 7 years. They're in the stock for the next, few weeks. Let's put it that way. This is a play on the fact that they think the stock's going to keep going up, basically until after the split. And I think it's lame. I honestly just think it's really, really lame. Battery Day is supposed to come September 22nd, okay? And let me be very clear. Here's what's going to end up happening, in my opinion, in this whole situation, okay? Kind of got to put all these puzzle pieces together. You have everybody buying in the stock, and when I say everybody, I mean a ton of the traders, around the stock, right? The stock's going to end up essentially having the split happen right around September 1st, okay? And I think ultimately that will lead to either a big sell-off going into Battery Day or right after Battery Day, because a ton of that trader money will end up coming out of the stock. And it'll end up making, I think, Battery Day and the shareholder day look like a disappointment, because the stock price will be downtrending and it'll be going down, and it'll be like, oh, and I just think it's lame, okay? I just think it's lame. I hate when a stock moves just on the simple fact of it's going to split. So now all of a sudden, it's up 14, 15% or whatever today. I think it's super, super lame in my personal opinion, okay? Now, so that covers Uber, that covers Tesla. Now let's talk about this Planet 13 situation, okay? Because I have been watching something happen with this stock, and I want to, kind of let you guys know what is going on here. So hopefully it saves you a little money, okay? So Planet 13 having a great day today, up 11.5%. Obviously, I put out that video last night on financial education too. Obviously a very bullish video around Planet 13. A lot of people, just buy stocks because I buy stocks, obviously. We all know that, okay? It doesn't need to be said. So I come out with that video, but here's the problem, and here's what I'm seeing with the stock consistently, okay? Is it spikes up right at the start of trade, especially after if I post any video where I really go into depth on Planet 13. That's when it really does it in a massive way, okay? It spikes up huge in the morning, but I notice this on most mornings, okay? It will spike up huge, and look at it today. It was all the way up to over $3.30 a share, right? Way up. And then it sells off, okay? And so what I've noticed here in Planet 13 stock is it seems like either, people are just putting in orders so they can buy at any price, toward basically the beginning of the market, or traders are essentially kind of figuring out a little scheme where they can buy in early in the morning and try to get in right before, people that are actually trying to go long this stock, and then basically kind of, capitalize on that. And then boom, sell out of the shares, sell out of the shares. That's what I've been noticing, okay? And Planet 13 spikes at the open and right before they close on most days. If you just look at a chart for this stock, and I've been tracking it for, a while now, if you notice this one, it's spiking at the opens and it's spiking right before the close, okay? And during the trading day, it's kind of just doesn't do that much. So what I think is happening here is I think a lot of people that are going long shares are just kind of being lazy about it. Instead of actually putting in that order during the trading day, they're just putting it in the night before. And when a ton of orders have to process and you don't have that many people selling, what's going to happen to price? Boom, boom, boom. That's going to send the price up, up, up. And so a lot of people, I just think, are being lazy in this whole situation, and they end up getting, shares for not nearly as good of a deal as they could if they just waited a few hours and actually put in that order later. The other thing, the other reason I think the stock spikes right before the close, and I notice this on most days, like it'll trade higher in the last all of a sudden, like 10 to 15 minutes right before the market closes. I think people are, not a lot of people, but I think there are some traders out there that are kind of like making a kind of more of a gambling decision, like maybe Jeremy will make a video tonight about Planet 13. And so they go ahead and they buy the stock right before the close, hoping I'll make a video about it. And, if I do, it's great for them and they can sell out the next day. In the next, 10, 15 minutes, they make some little, breadcrumb money. Let's call it that, okay? Or there's a situation where I don't make a video about it and stock doesn't do much, but they're like, okay, stock didn't do much, but it's fine. I'll just, sell out and either take a small loss or just take a small gain or just kind of end up breaking even. But I think people are kind of taking that risk now. And we'll see what happens today in the trading day, because the trading day is not going to end. I'm recording this video, still about 40 minutes left in the trading day as I'm recording this video. We'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up spiking kind of right before the close of the market here today. And so if you're going long shares Planet 13, if this is a stock you actually want to buy, you actually believe in the long-term vision of this company and the things I talk about, and you've researched it, if you're going long shares, you probably don't buy at the open and probably don't buy at the close, right? It just doesn't seem like you're getting the best prices you could possibly get if you're buying at either of those. Because like we talked about, at the beginning of the market, the stock's 330 plus. People are paying 330 for the stock. You can buy it now, middle of the trading day, for 310, 308, 307, 309. Like, hey, 20 cents is 20 cents, especially if you're buying thousands or tens of thousands of shares of this stock, okay? So if you're long in the shares, usually just kind of wait toward mid-trading day because I see the price movement. It's all about that beginning and that end of the market when it comes to Planet 13 shares. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. That helps out the YouTube channel in total. And also, if you're looking to scale your stock market portfolio, you got 5 figures in the stock market right now, or you're looking to invest 5 figures plus in the next 12 months, check out the first link in the description down there that will allow you to apply and hopefully get on a phone call with somebody high up from my team. We can tell you a little bit about a product and service we have in the market in which we can help scale your portfolio and get you to the type of goals you're trying to reach out there. Thank you for watching and have a great day.